The City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
What is good, Heart of LAFC faithful? Welcome to episode 278, as we have called this one CCL Away Days 1. We're back on the CCL. What an amazing game that was. Before we get into all the insights and all that happened during that game, because there's a lot to talk about during that game, first of all, I'd like to welcome Araceli onto the show. Araceli, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good, especially after that huge win, which obviously, we'll go over in a little bit here, but hey, it's a good night.
It is a good night. It is a good night. A win's always good. Also, Joseph, we all know that he's in Costa Rica, so he can't be here. Tony, he might be popping in a little bit later on. I know he was at the watch parties and all that kind of stuff, so he might be tuning in a bit later on and might be able to get some live reactions from people that were at the watch parties. With all that going on at the moment, let's get into this game. What a game it was. Before we get into the scorelines and all that, we'll go through our starting lineup. Obviously, we went with a strong starting lineup. We went with the starting lineup at the start of the last game with McCarthy in goals, Hollingshead, Murillo, Chiellini, Palacios in the back, Sifu, Ilie, and Costa in the mid, Bawanga, Vela, and Opoku up top. Now, for them, they had, I'm going to butcher so many of these names, but I'm going to have a crack anyway. Mourinho in goals, Martinez, Galaz, Gamboa, and Zugina in the defense, Alicia, Lopez, Suarez, Borges, and Mora in the mid, and Venegas up top. For me, they actually had some fairly decent players. A few of them were actually a lot better than I thought they would be. Like Alicia, 18-year-old, he's got a huge potential, and I would not be surprised if we look at him as a U20 initiative there. For me, there was going into a great game. Araceli, what were some of the standouts from that lineup that we had for you?
I think one of the biggest standouts was just simply seeing Sarandolo putting our full roster out there, even after playing against Portland just a few days ago, because I know that was one of our biggest questions in the last show was Chiellini going to start? Was Vela going to start? Just kind of an overall trying to get like a guessing game almost of who was going to get the start, who was going to be on the bench. But looking at the roster, as I mentioned, LAFC went full force. We saw the full roster out there. The only change, if any, was the addition of goalkeeper Abraham Romero to the bench.
That is true. Like, for me, I didn't expect Chiellini to start, let alone play a full 90. And just shows that he was determined to play that full 90. The conditions were good for him and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was great with him going out there. The approach for me was we wanted to take the 3 points. After seeing the last couple of days, seeing Austin lose 3-0 away with a beautiful own goal that they scored, Vancouver come out with a 5-0 win. For me, it was MLS teams wanted to push it. So you had Orlando City having a 0-0 draw with Tigres and Philadelphia having a 0-0 draw too. We wanted to show that out of the American MLS teams that we can actually go out and win. And that's, I think, that Dollar really wanted, was to go out there, get the win, get the 3-goal lead, and then come back to LA so that we can relax a little bit more and play at our own pace type thing. Going into some of the highlights from the game, the first 15, 20 minutes of the first half was a lot of us. We're just peppering the goals, having cracks. Opoku was having some decent hits at goals. For me, that first 15 minutes was all about Opoku. He was always there running around, trying to do what he could. Then, obviously, they had a couple of decent chances themselves. But in the 30th minute, we've got to talk about it. The cross that comes in, Bawanga on the back post, all by himself, hits the post and goes out. Araceli, what are your thoughts on that play?
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. In the first 15, 20 minutes of the game, LAFC was in full control of it, peppering that goalkeeper with shots. I believe there was about 7 or 9 shots. I would need to double check to confirm it. But as you pointed out, Mahala had 2 solid chances back to back. And then, of course, you got Bawanga with that left-footed shot that hit the left post. So it was little moments like that where it's just kind of you wanted it to go in, but hey, second half magic really came through for us.
Exactly. Like 30th minute, open goal. He's on the back post. That's a tap every day of the week. Yes, while watching the game, had the Twitter going as all that. The amount of, how to put it, I want to say hate, more disappointment going towards him for missing that. There was a lot of that out there. But there was also a lot of people going, just wait. Sit back, wait. He will make up for that. And he will definitely make up for that in the second half. But for the rest of the first half, they had a couple of chances, but not as many as us. We just kept peppering them. How we did not score at least 2-3 goals in that first half, I don't know. Their keeper had a great game. Their defense wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It was okay. You can see where they wanted to try and take it to us at the same time. Hearing just the 30-52 on the broadcast was just amazing to hear and all that kind of stuff. So going into the first half, unfortunately, they had a player off injured. There's only one yellow card for them in that first half too. But going in at halftime, 0-0. Right on halftime, after a minute of the injury time played, we had a shot for a corner, but the ref said no. That's it. Halftime, in you go. So going at halftime, 0-0. We could have done more. We could have done better. But for me, I was happy with the 0-0. What about you, Araceli?
All things considering in that first half, I definitely was happy with the 0-0. Obviously, I would have liked to seen LAFC go up a goal or two into the halftime, but I mean, it's just how it goes, unfortunately, especially in CONCACAF. And I'm glad that you mentioned the 32-52 because you could clearly hear them through the broadcast throughout the entire first half. The energy was just absolutely electric. Even before the game started, I don't know if anyone saw the post from the Black Army or the Cuervos on Instagram and even on Twitter, the march to the stadium, like you could just tell it was absolutely electric. Again, I don't know how many supporters went down to Costa Rica. Hopefully Joseph can tell us a number, but I saw it was like over 400.
Yeah, from
So
I could understand and what they're saying on the broadcast is the sectional set that they're in holds upwards of 500. So it's at least 500 in there. So seeing 500 plus black and gold faithful over there out singing, well, from what we could hear, out singing the home fans, but you don't know where they put the microphones in the stadiums, all that. Wouldn't be surprised if they put some of the English ones around the 32-52 so they could put that through. But, hearing them all, seeing them all there, over 500 in Costa Rica, was just an amazing to see. It shows how much we really go out for this club. We'll fly wherever it will be, over land and sea. Doesn't matter where. LAFC fans would make their way to get there.
Oh, absolutely. And I even saw a few fans post just last night, them getting on the red eye right after work to go straight to Costa Rica. So all the credit to those who were able to make it down there. And of course, please safe travels back home to LA.
Exactly, 100%. Now at halftime, I actually thought that we'd do a couple of subs, having the same starting 11 from just a couple of days before when we played Portland at home. I thought, yep, there might be a sub or two. Dole decided not to do that. Halftime comes out with the exact same lineup. And 2 minutes into the second half, Araceli, what happens?
Oh my goodness. Good. We kicked off a dream start to the second half. Almost immediately, Bawanga, boom, right away, gets LAFC the lead with that cross into the goal. And oh my goodness, it was absolutely amazing.
It was. Bawanga opens up the scoring for us. It should have been his second, third for the game, but it was his first for the game. From if I remember correctly, it was Hollingshead that did a crossover, runs down, passes it across the goals. For me, their keeper should have done a lot better than that. Their keeper was just flat-footed, stood still, watched the ball go past him, straight to Bouanga, and in the back of the net for Bouanga. So Bouanga starts us off in the second half with a magnificent goal to get us under the way. 54th minute, Aluhanse does a double sub. A little bit more back and forward. A couple of chances for each side. Nothing much to say from that. 68th minute, we decide that we're going to have a sub of our own. Vela comes off for Tillman. Now, this was, what to me was the right call. You know, Vela had been getting peppered in the corners by the home fans with some cups, some bottles, some coins, all that kind of stuff. So pulling him off, to me, was a smart option at the time. Just 2 minutes later, Bouanga gets in pretty much the same play. Hollingshead overlap, gets the ball back, crosses across goals, straight to Bouanga to open up the second goal. What's your thoughts on that goal, Araceli?
Sorry, I had so many windows open. I had to close it back out to get back here. No, I mean, more or less the same feelings kind of with the first one. It's almost how we said in the first half. When Bouanga missed that goal, yes, tensions were a little high, especially, from the fans on Twitter. But even as you and I had talked about before going live, it's just you have to give Bouanga that chance, let him cook. And sure enough that he did. With the second goal, he comes in strong and he sends a left-footed shot at close range, again with the assist from Hollingshead.
Yeah, it was just an amazing play. The whole lead up to that, getting the overlap run by Hollingshead. Hollingshead knowing that he can push up like that, knowing that Chiellini's in the back with the defense, with Rillo and Palacios. For me, it was just that perfect run of play. Just from that first, 25 minutes of this second half, I'd love to know what Dolo said in the dressing room at halftime. That we came out more intensity, yeah. Wanting to fight more, wanting to score more, all that kind of stuff. So for me, knowing what Dolo can do at halftime makes me wonder what we're going to do for the whole season. If we go into dressing room at halftime, how are we going to come out? Or is he going to start doing those halftime speeches beginning of the game to get us out firing straight away? A bit later on, 76th minute, we have another double substitution. We have Stipe Buick and Palencia on for Opoku and Palacios. Pretty much more like for like swap there. I understand that. And in the 89th minute, we're up 2-0. We get a corner. Do a short little corner, I believe it was. Thought, all right, we're going to run into the corner. We'll sit there. 89th minute. 5 minutes of stoppage time. Not much to go on to. But Bouanga had another thought there. Araceli, what did Bouanga decide to do?
Bouanga completed the hat trick. Again, and we really can't praise Bouanga enough here, especially tonight. He gave everything that he have. And for the third time, another left-footed shot straight into the top corner. This time, it was assisted by Ilie following a corner. But other than that, I've already said it twice. Bouanga, absolutely great.
Exactly. I thought they'll give it back to Bouanga. He'll go into the corner, just sit there, run timeout, get another corner, all that kind of stuff. He ends up running towards goal, and he just put his foot through the ball. Absolutely rocked that into the back of the net. As I said in one of the group chats, was he hit that with pure venom. The only way that was going to be stopped was if the keeper put his life on the line to stop it. Because if the keeper put his body behind that any part, broken hand, the keeper was dead. Plain and simple, the keeper would have been dead. They would bring it stretches, dig a hole for him because there was no way that he was going to stop that. It was absolutely a cracking shot. Also, a couple of little things in the game there was, I have to say, and David Day, you brought this up and reminded me of it. Clenny was out there cracking heads, going up for the balls. He's got a strong head. The Costa Rican player didn't quite have a strong enough head and ended up worse for wear with a little cut above the eye and some bleeding and all that kind of stuff. So, for me, this was Bouanga's game. Yes, he missed a gilt edge goal in the first 30 minutes. But he made up for that easily in the second half with a hat trick. What was your thoughts on McCarthy in goal?
Oh, I absolutely enjoyed watching McCarthy in goal. He definitely came up huge a few times. I would need to look at the final stats to see how many saves he recorded exactly, but just to watch him get his first clean sheet into CCL was great. I think McCarthy is definitely earning his keep with the club now.
Easily. I don't see him after the first couple of games. I don't see him losing his spot anytime soon in the starting lineup. That's for sure. A few of the stats from the game, which are something interesting. We had 25 shots on goals to their 13. Accurate passes, we had 76% with 324. They had 74% with 278. So there's easily, 50 passes different in there. Fouls committed, they committed 10, we committed 7. They had 6 corners to our 5. Shots on target, out of our 25, we had 12. Out of their 13, they had 5. Keeper saves, their keeper had 9. McCarthy had 5. So fairly decent, 5 shots on target were all saved.
Very good.
Exactly. Here's an interesting stat for you. Out of our 25 shots, how many do you think were from inside the box?
From inside the box. Okay, let me see. Let me hide this real quick so I'm not cheating. But oh goodness. I don't know. Let's go with 10.
17. 17 were from inside the box. We had 8 from outside the box. Out of our 25.
I mean, it wouldn't be CCL if it wasn't a high number. So.
Exactly. While out of their 13 shots, only 2 from inside the box, 11 from outside. So that just goes to show you that we got into their box quite easily. We kept them out of ours quite a bit. So overall, I think it was a really, really good first game for us. We got it there. We shook off our CCL nerves. We showed up in Costa Rica like we always do when we're traveling. From everything I understood, the night before was a great party atmosphere. What was it? Give me one moment while I find it again. Global diplomatic stuff was done really well. They all had a blast. So everyone that donated to that, helped out with that in any way, thank you for doing that. I know how much they really appreciate that kind of stuff. Araceli, what are your final words for this match?
I mean, my final words are simple. Obviously, as we've already mentioned before, LAFC went in with a full force, wanting to get that first win. Hopefully, as soon as they come back to LAFC, of course. Excuse me, it's been a very long night. As soon as they come back to LA for the second leg, I don't want to call it an easy win because it's CCL. But given what we've seen on the field, hopefully now that they're familiar with Eloise, I know I'm mispronouncing the team. My apologies. But now that they're familiar with their style, hopefully they can adapt to it a little bit more. But in terms of our players, I think they did very well overall. Obviously, it was Bouanga's night, but we still got to give credit to Hollingshead, Sanchez, Chiellini. They all had great performances. And I will say, I have to admit that even seeing the subs being taken in the 80th minute, I was a little nervous considering what we saw against Portland. Of course, you can't really judge them on 10 minutes. But I think the subs they actually did well. and they're starting to gel with the team.
Oh, definitely 100%. And I also did like the fact that 90th minute, we're up 3-0. Eric Dunez got onto the pitch. Academy original, got it onto the pitch for the CCL. For me, that was just an amazing decision to do there. Like, he came in the 90th minute for Bouanga, so Bouanga got to go off the field, have his little spotlight on him after scoring a hat trick, and Dunez finally got to go onto the pitch for a CCL game. So for me, that was just an amazing thing to see. Now we're getting some of the reactions from you guys that are on here with us. We'll start off with Mark Lopez. Let's go. Completely there. Jose, cheers. Smallest Kenobi's in the house. Beautiful win. It was an absolute beautiful win. I couldn't have asked for a better win myself. Jose's driving back home from the watch party. Hope you had fun at the watch party. Hope everyone that was at watch parties, whether it was doesn't matter which group it was that created it. Hope you all had fun. Hope you're all driving home safely, not drinking and driving, all that kind of stuff. Mark Lopez is here. Was worried about the subs coming in because how we went with Portland. The subs showed up today. They did completely. I think the Portland subs, because it was their first actual hit out, we can give a little bit of leeway there. But I think now the subs know when they come in, they come in. Jose clearly played all game. He did. I wasn't expecting that. That was a huge surprise for me. And I'm pretty sure it was a bit of a surprise for you too, Araceli.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was a definite surprise because I know we've already mentioned this, but that was really, truly, Chiellini was one of the questions of whether if he was going to start or if he was going to go with the team in a leadership role. And clearly, Sharandolo made the right choice to start him. Now, the real question is, who's going to be starting for against New England? But we'll get to that in a moment, of course.
100%. Like, it's going to be interesting because that's not too far away, that game. Gerard, Dally, black and gold. Clinty is a boss. Before you continue on with this, Tony, my boy,
hey,
how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
How's the watch party?
It was good. My throat's going to be dead in the morning, but overall great. It was a good turnout. Lucky showed up, so a couple of people from D9U and other people. So it was a good turnout. Progressive showed up for us and everything like that. So it was really good. Slow start, but honestly, I was at the end. You could not. Pretty much the excitement was crazy.
We just finished talking about our thoughts of the game. What was your thoughts at halftime? With the Bouanga miss.
Halftime right now? Wait, are we halftime or full time? Which time are we at?
Well, we've done full time, but I want to get you at halftime. Where are you at?
Halftime, at halftime, I felt like they came to show up, and Alamanze was really doing really well. Like, you know what I mean? They wanted to like show the world, like, you know, who they were. Sorry for the light. I'm like in the dark, but we had more chances than them. From what I saw, again, I was like spreading, like trying to get as much TV time as I can, like watching any TV like was in front of me. But we kind of controlled the game. They didn't have any answers for us up front, you know. And the defense, it was the same thing. It was very kind of, the midfield was suspect from what I saw. Again, I'll probably rewatch this game to get a better example of it. But that was the only issue I had, was really like the midfield was kind of like meh.
Yeah. For me, with their midfield, their number 7, Alicia, I think he's going to be an amazing player coming up. The kid's 18 years old. He was always there running around, annoying our players. So for me, I don't see him staying in Costa Rica too long. I can't see him possibly coming up to the MLS sometime soon, because that's another thing that you'll probably find too, is a lot of MLS teams have watched this game and went, oh, this kid's actually quite good. He doesn't play in a big country. Can we get him over here?
But that's what Champions League is, like anywhere in the world, especially here for CONCACAF. It's like, you know what I mean, this is your opportunity of getting scouted, you know what I mean? Of like, you know, playing against LAFC, you have the biggest stage, you know what I mean? We're like, you know, again, we're MLS's darlings, everyone's like, as they call us and everything like that. So this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity at time, you know what I mean? Because again, we go back, we keep talking about it, but like again, no one knew who Chicho Arango was even before, and now he's like where he is now. And that's what we scouted. He didn't play against us. We scouted him. So now with this kid playing really well against us and showing like the prospect moving forward, I don't see, like you said, I don't see him staying there too long. We might pick him up if we need him, but we'll see.
Exactly. What's your thoughts on Bouanga's miss in the first half?
Oh my fucking God. That was a gimme. That was legitimately a gimme.
It was. Now going in the second half, we did come up with Cross and say that Bouanga made up for that tenfold. He made up for that tenfold, especially with the third goal. But what was your thoughts at full time?
At full time? Honestly, we showed up like how we're supposed to play. Like we got 3 goals, so now we don't have to worry about moving forward. And we have the goal accurate, and hopefully when we come home we can just add one more goal, and then they have to just do it. As like I said, it's not over just yet. Again, look what happened to us when we went to Lyon. We were down bad, and then we had that magical night. So the possibilities are not over just yet. So hopefully we get this on, move on to the next game, and then start our climb to be pretty much CONCACAF champions, and then go on from there.
Exactly. With the way that we play today, I think if we keep playing like that, there's nothing stopping us lifting the Champions League trophy. That's for sure. Our defense held up, and midfield did what they had to do, and our forward line, although missed some gilt-edged chances, got the goals that were needed.
Yeah. The only surprise that I had was, I don't know if you guys talked about it, was Chiellini playing like almost a full 90, which was kind of crazy. So I think we already knew, like I said, like you said, like last episode, he said he wanted to play. I thought maybe you guys thought the same thing, was they're going to manage minutes and maybe he's going to play like 60, about that. But he wasn't there for pretty much the whole game. Didn't get taken out to 80th minute or something like that.
No, he didn't get taken out at all. He played the whole full game.
Oh, see, I thought, because I saw Long come on, so I thought he came out, and because that's always the
no, transfer. It was Junis that came on for Bouanga.
See,
yeah, Vela came out in the 68th minute, but Chiellini stayed in the full time.
Yeah, see, we need Vela against New England, because that's going to be a very hard game, especially, you know what I mean, because they're doing really well. So I'm not surprised about that. Chiellini, I feel like, is going to get some rest. But again, we're already on a tough schedule. We have Sunday, and then we're back at the bank, and then we're back at the bank again against Costa Rica, and then we're flying to Seattle. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
It's going to be a busy week.
If I could real quick, speaking of Vela, as I said, he was subbed out in the 68th minute. Do you guys think that was a managing minutes decision or a safety decision? Because there was at one point where I'm going to say Costa Rican fans, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the team.
Okay.
But there was a point where we did see them throwing debris at Vela at the corner.
That was honestly, that is kind of expected, to be honest. And as much as I hate to say this, that's part of our culture, Latin American culture, is being upset and throwing stuff. Especially you see it a lot more in Mexico and Argentina, Brazil. You see that fans get angry, start throwing, because that's the only thing they can do. We've seen it, when we were playing Lyon, you saw all the bodyguards holding the riot shields to protect the corner kick. So I'm not surprised. I'm surprised they didn't have that there, but it was more, I think, managing minutes. I don't think it was safety wise. But it was crazy. Did you guys notice around probably the 80th minute in the stands what happened?
Yep. Yeah. We did see that. The 80th minute, the 30-52 were escorted out by the stadium security and the police for safety reasons, from what we understand. Our good friend, the LA Wanderer, Monty, posted about it. He posted on Twitter. I'll use his tweet and read it quote for quote. We good fam. Security escorted LAFC fans out with police escort. 85th minute. 2-0 down when we left. 3-0 on the march back to the rendezvous point. Don't know if CONCACAF made the call, but we all good.
From what I saw, it was CONCACAF's call for safety reasons. Again, we didn't have this against Lyon, but again, that's because they won. So it wasn't more of like them being like, oh, they're happy they won. So it's nothing. But again, away support in a strange company. From what I've been hearing, everybody was treated nicely up until the game, and now with the three, not just the win, but the way it was went 3-0 loss. As CONCACAF, I think I would have done the same thing and like get everybody out safety wise, because it can turn really bad really quickly.
Yeah, 100%, especially when the away fans weren't. And this is where I'm going to sound a bit weird about, but in Lyon, we were caged in.
Yeah.
Where here we weren't caged in, we were just in the stands with a row of security.
They were caged in, actually.
Yeah, their hardcore fans were caged in. Their regular fans weren't. So if it was the other way around where we were caged in, I don't think they would have sent us out. They would have waited till everyone dispersed.
Well, yeah, because like I said, like you saw when you see the 3252, you saw the line, literally the line of security guards, like a wall there of making sure nothing would happen, which again, it was, passion's passion, but passion can turn really ugly really quickly. And again, good call from CONCACAF for doing that. Hopefully when they come over here, we treat them the best way we can and treat them the right way and not be dumb like that. So
yeah, 100%. Like from everything that I'd seen posted up before game day, it seemed like everyone was welcoming, everyone was having fun together, everyone was mingling, getting to know that relationship. But on game day, it was the "you're not us, we don't like you" mentality. Hopefully tomorrow morning, when everyone wakes up, cooler heads prevail, and everyone's like, "Thanks for coming, thanks for enjoying our country." Hopefully that's what happens. Which, if it does happen, that is what football should be like.
Yeah.
For that,
I would say suggestion-wise, probably I wouldn't wear any LAFC gear for just in case in tomorrow, just to be safe, on the safe side. Like, I understand be proud of it, but when you're in a foreign country, it's kind of like, it's like your blood walking into Crip territory here in LA. It's not the greatest thing to do.
No, 100%. But also at the same time, be respectful as well.
No, exactly.
Especially when you're over in another country. Just be respectful. Look, don't bring up the game unless they bring it up with you. And then praise them on how well that they played. Because they did play well for a lot of the game.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm happy it's over. We just got to go now to face New England and then see what happens there.
Yeah, the New England should be an interesting game. But we'll get on to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, we'll let you go so you can get home safely.
All right, I'll be in chat for you guys, so I'll be watching. So if you guys need me, I can hop on real quick, but it's going to take me like 40 minutes, but you'll probably be off by then. So
all good.
Be safe, you guys. Safely.
Thanks for jumping in, and we'll get back to everyone's reactions.
All right.
See you, Tony.
Later, guys.
Yeah.
It's always good having him jump in like that. Where were we? We're up to Gerard. Rios, wow, what a game. Could have had so much more. The keeper kept them in it. The keeper did. The keeper had a great game as well. Gerard was also happy that we could see the game through with a clean sheet. McCarthy has a good game. Looked shaky at home opener, but very attentive throughout the whole game tonight. Exactly. Remember, it wasn't just a home opener. It was our first competitive game of the season. Everyone's going to have a little bit of nerves. Seeing the way that he came through in this game was great. Jose at 30-52 was amazing. They always are. David Day's in the building with a thumbs up. Remember, guys, like, subscribe to us. All good. Cleany's out there cracking heads. He is, especially with his head. I don't want to receive a headbutt from him at all. McCarthy had a great stop. He had some great stops during the whole game. Ox is in the building with what's going good, Ox. Jose McCarthy has his spot secured for the season? I would say until at least
I want to say maybe
halfway.
for half the season.
Yeah, half the season. We'll reevaluate at halfway through when all their players are fit and all that kind of stuff. Ox always had faith in J-Mac. Not talking down on Max, but I knew J-Mac always had it in him. It could end up being the fact that J-Mac plays these big games because he knows he's got to step up for him, where Max plays regular seasons because he plays all that every game. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. You know, those going to extra time, keeper subs type things. I wouldn't put it past Dolo doing that. Looking ahead, who's in our bracket next? I'm not 100% sure. We'll worry about that after our next CCL game, because then we'll know for sure and we can focus on that. At the moment, focus on New England and focus on our next CCL game. Opoku and Morelia seemed off for some reason. I wouldn't say so. I think Opoku just seemed to be rushing a little bit more. He had some good shots. He was getting in behind, but he's got to slow down a little bit. Kevin in here was asking about the 30-50 leaving the stadium early. As we just said with Tony, it was more of a safety reason. You know, the home team's down 3-0. They're probably going to get a little bit antsy there. Jose, Tony, you were great as always. Tony's always great, especially Capo. He's an amazing Capo. David Day, stadium stands looked cool. They did. There was actually the Austin game. That stadium was my favorite because it had the massive tree behind the goals that looked amazing. Did you see that tree, Araceli?
I saw the tree.
It was an amazing tree. Like,
it was a fantastic tree.
That's another thing. Like, playing these CCL games, playing against these teams you don't normally see, and then obviously that wasn't in the other team's stadium. They had to go to Dominican Republic for that game. But seeing that tree, just seeing go, that's amazing. Imagine game day, sitting underneath that tree, behind the goals. What more could you ask for, really, besides being the 30-52? That would be a great day sitting under that tree.
It was almost as amazing as that dog running onto the pitch in the one match. Oh, goodness. Who played in that match?
That was a Philadelphia match.
Philadelphia, right.
Hey, that dog had a better touch than most of Philadelphia teams that game.
If someone doesn't adopt that dog and name him Striker, I am going to be very disappointed. I'll just leave it at that.
We all. David Day is coming here with Villa and his dad bod. It is a good dad bod. Jose, the subsidy were great. They get in sync with the way we play. They are getting better. Mark Lopez, Villa was milking that trash throwing, epic time wasting. It was, but at the same time, though, it is a dangerous thing to do. I hope that we never do it. I know we have in the past, but I hope that we never do that again. Just because, look, you don't like seeing our players get hurt by that kind of stuff. So why would you want to go hurt someone else's player? Plain and simple. Villa acting deserves an Oscar. He is in LA, so Marilla's late flop deserves an Oscar. Our players don't flop. We all know that.
He's not
the
Neymar.
Best drama performance? No. It's Ghibli in here, yo. No player votes for CCL games. No, we're not going to do that for CCL games or US Open Cup games. It's going to be regular season games, because the way I look at it is, with those other games, we might not be playing our full strength side. We'll not be playing our regulars. So to me, it will just, how do I put it? It won't give a fair representative overall, if that makes sense. So especially in the US Open Cup games, we're playing lower teams. We might be resting a few of our bigger players that would miss out on points, which would end up them missing out on winning the trophy end of the year. So for this year, it's going to be just regular season games, and then next year I'll probably end up looking at doing something where it's a CCL MVP, all that kind of stuff, where they're just little trophies. If that makes sense. Look, it's only our second year. I'm still trying to iron out all the little facts and all that, but we'll definitely be doing it then. Latif homecoming on Sunday. It is. We'll be getting to that very soon. Jonathan Evans. It'll be nice to be able to rotate goalkeepers later in the season. Yes and no, because you don't want to rotate a goalkeeper just to rotate and get them off the game. Apparently Vancouver will be next if we go through. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there, whether it'll be Vancouver next or not. But at the moment, we're not worrying about that, because after that CCL game, we'll be getting into the next game soon. But just a few club and community news. There's not much really going on at the moment besides 3052 memberships are on sale. So go out, make sure that you get yourself a membership. Believe that we are tailgating this weekend. Christmas tree lane should be open. We'll confirm that a bit later on when we know more information. And again, our boys over at Defenders have been hit with a lot of fake accounts of them opening up. So if you see a fake account on any platform of anyone on the pod fam or LAFC, just report them straight away. You know, we're all in this together, especially all our pod fam guys. We don't want to see the hard work put in by the other podcasts get taken away due to someone thinking, let's make a joke and make up a fake account or something like that. So if you see one of those, let anyone in the pod fam know, reach out to us personally and report it, because we'll make sure that we're all on top of that kind of stuff. Now moving on, we're going to go to the Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. This one, we're sitting there going, what do we do? You know, it's Latif homecoming, but we've done Starman quite a lot. So for this week, I'm going to go with a New England band that's from up in that area. For me, this is one of their biggest songs. It's got to be Boston, More Than a Feeling. You know, we all know that song. We all played in Guitar Hero. To me, I had to pick this one because LAFC is more than a feeling. It's a lifestyle. It's community. It's everything that you need. So for this week, More Than a Feeling by Boston is this week's Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. Araceli, you happy with that?
I'm happy with it.
It is a good song too. You know, rocking out, especially on the way to a game or
That's
after
a really
a win.
good song. It's definitely a tailgate worthy song. And speaking of the
100%.
tailgates, so someone in the comments mentioned that the BA tailgate will be in the same place as the last game. So far, it's planned to start at 7 a.m.
That is good. That is good. As I said, we'll be posting on our socials leading up to it over the next couple of days. So just remember, check out our socials. We'll definitely be up there. If you can't check it out, we'll be up on the 3052 Instagram and all that for sure. Now, leading on to the next little bit, we have a game coming up in just a couple of days. We have New England Revs coming to LA, which means it's return of Blessing. It is his first game back against us since he left us to go play over at New England. We're all sad to see him leave. Let's welcome him back personally, give him a round of applause and all that. But let's go get the 3 points, though. We still need the 3 points. As much as I don't want him to lose, he has to, so we can go get the 3 points. Now, after this game, it's only a couple of days for our next game. Araceli, what do you expect from LAFC for the next game?
I don't know if this is sounding a bit too optimistic, but I am really hoping to see some other substitutions, whether it be in the starting lineup or more in the second half sub, because considering we had our full roster go at full strength for 2 games in a row and not even I don't think there's really much of a rest period for them, considering that they play New England on Saturday, which is tomorrow, at least for me. So you're expecting the
Sunday.
team or
Game
Sunday. Sunday? Ah,
Yep,
I
Sunday.
see. My apologies.
But still, it's only an extra day.
The point still remains the same. I mean, it's going to be a very short window. They're going to have to fly back, if not tonight, tomorrow. And we're going to have to expect them to be well rested to a certain point. So I'm definitely going to be expecting to see maybe players like Aaron Long get the start, or even Buke. But other than that, I mean, the game itself, all eyes will be on it, in the sense that last week the Revs recorded their first ever 2-0 start to an MLS season in their 28-year history. We don't want them to continue that. So
No. Like, going back so far this year, they had a 1-0 win away to Charlotte to open up the season. Then the last game was a 3-0 home win over Houston. In that game over Houston, in the 42nd minute, Barrera scored for them. 53rd minute, Wood scored for them. And the 65th minute, Bayer scored the goal with an assist, from Latif. A few of the key stats from that game was Revs had a possession of 46.7, Houston 53.3. Shots were 11-8, with 5 on target for Revs, 4 for Houston. Crosses 14-26, so Houston had more crosses. Corners were 3 apiece. Fouls 15-14, with 2 yellows for Revs and 4 yellows for Houston. The expected team goals was 1.5 to 0.6. So Revs doubled their expected goals, which is actually quite huge. Like, they are still missing a few players that are out injured. They're missing Farrell, Gill, McNamara, Marcel, Jackson, and in the last game, Panotu was out with an illness, but he could be back this week because it was just an illness. Rest of them have ACLs, left legs, right legs, Achilles injuries, all that kind of stuff. So they should be out for a little bit more. We also have Max out injured. Don't think we've picked up any injuries from this game, but we've got to see how they arrive back home. I know the Revs flew out today to fly to LA, so they'll be here before. They'll be in LA before we get to LA, which sounds weird, but with them being in LA before we get to LA is going to be interesting. Hopefully, our flight out of Costa Rica leaves in the next hour, so the boys can stretch out, fly back, land, get a good night rest. I don't think we're going to do much of a run through tomorrow or the day after. I think there'll be light training sessions, but I don't see us starting this lineup that we just had today. For me, I think we're going to go MacArthur in goals, because he's had one decent game, one great game. That's for sure. Our backline will probably be Hollingshead, Murillo, Long, and Palencia. Would you agree with that backline?
I could definitely see that, because as I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Aaron Long get the start.
Especially over Chiellini, because he played a full 90 in Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. He's not getting much younger. He'll be on the bench for sure. I could see him coming in if he feels okay. I don't think that Dolo will put him on just because. I think he'll have to feel okay to come on. In the midfield, Ilie, Acosta, Sifu. I think those three will start in the midfield. Up top, I reckon it's going to be Vela, Opoku, and Buick. We might see Tillman start in the midfield, but I don't think so. What about you, Araceli? What are your thoughts on the starting lineup?
I could definitely see Tillman getting the start in the midfield. along with Ilya and Acosta. Up front, I do see the Vela, Buick, and I would go as far as to say Bouanga still. I don't know. I have a feeling that Bouanga is going to want to keep going off that win, keep that momentum up. But again, when it comes to Dolo and roster rotation, he doesn't really do a lot, but you never know.
Exactly. I think he might start Bouanga on the bench just to give him a little bit extra break. Maybe a halftime sub if we need it, if we're in at 0-0 at halftime, or heaven forbid down 1-0. I think he will leave him to come on as that explosion off the bench for us. As for New England, in their last game against Houston, they started with Petrovic in goal, Jones, Romney, Kelsa, and Bai in the defense. Their mid was Buck, Polster, and Blessing, and up top was Moreno, Gill, and Wood. So for me, that's exactly how it's going to be. I don't think they're going to change from that. You know, they destroyed the Houston side 3-0 at home. They've all flown out already. For me, they're not going to be changing their starting lineup. I think that is one of their strongest starting lineup. You know, you got Emmanuel Boateng on the bench, Renix that came on last game. For me, I don't see where they could maybe start Jose Altidore, but for me, I think Altidore will stay on the bench and they'll start with the same lineup as they had last game. What do you think, Araceli?
No, I mean, I definitely agree. I do see New England kind of going with the same lineup because they haven't had an extra match like we just did in a sense. But I won't be surprised if they try to mix it up just a little bit. So I know. I'm sorry. Did you mention if Oh goodness, let me see if I can find his name real quick. Yeah, Barrio, was he the starting lineup for the last match?
Yeah.
Barrio. Okay, because along with Blessing, of course, I would expect all eyes to be on that Colombian winger. He has been a force lately, so
He has. He played 69 minutes in the last game for him. The game against Charlotte, obviously, he played a full 90 in that game. So in the game against Charlotte, they went with a 4-2-3-1. But I think that was more of a trial run than anything. You know, I had Bobby Wood on the bench for that game. They started Veroni, Buck, Polster. So for me, I think they'll go with the 4-3-3 to counter our 4-3-3. That's for sure. You know, like they haven't had many injuries. Kelso might be a little bit of the yellow cards because I'm pretty sure he's got 2 so far. I know he didn't get one last game. He missed out on that. But yeah, like Kelso, the defense can get in a bit of trouble with him. You had Jones on the yellow card from last game, but he did have an assist. So he was voted as their best on ground last game, going by Foot Mob. So for me, I think they'll go with the 4. Well, the last game, it looks like a 4-3-3, but they've got it written down as a 4-1-2-1-2. But it's more of a 4-3-3 than anything. So for me, I think they'll go with the same starting lineup from last game. You know, they've got a shorter flight to LA than we do. They're already in LA. We're not. So I think they're going to try and run us off the pitch more than anything.
And I definitely agree with that. I mean, I still find it crazy how they're already going to be there before our team even lands. But I mean, just looking at the roster, I like you said, you know, I do see them doing like a 4-3-3 and trying to keep that press on our midfield. So I mean,
Exactly.
I hate to repeat myself a lot here, but really, it really comes down to what our starting roster is gonna, or the starting 11 is gonna look like for Saturday or Sunday.
100%. Now, the other thing with this game on Sunday, we do have Alan Chapman as our main referee for the game. Alan Chapman's done 223 games, with the home team winning 58.3% of the time, draws at 22.4% of the time, and the away team wins 19.3% of the time. So less than 20% of the away team wins. He averages 22.5 fouls per game, 3.61 yellows, and 0.22 reds. He likes to let the game flow. So we'll keep going with that. Obviously, it's his first LAFC and first Revs game for the year. All time, he's done 17 LAFC games, with 8 of them being at home. And with him being the head ref for us at home, out of the 8 games, we've never lost. 75% win record, 25% draw record. Where for the Revs, he's done 12 games, with 9 of them being away. They've won 33.3%, lost 44.4%, and drawn 22.3%, averaging 1.22 points per game. So going by that, just looking at the stats and numbers, we should win this. But obviously, stats and numbers aren't everything. We're flying back from Costa Rica. We've got a lot to do there. They've had the today off, so they should be fit and ready. So it's going to be a good game. Hopefully, we're going to have a referee that's done quite a few of our games, to be honest. 17 games over the last few years. We've never lost with him at home. He likes to let the game flow. Doesn't call too many fouls. Doesn't give many yellows. But we'll see how he goes from that. What are your thoughts on Alan Chapman refereeing our game?
No, I mean, I absolutely agree with what you just said. He likes to let the game flow, which is always beneficial in our sense. And looking at the stats, that we seem to have a winning record when he's on the field. But, as I've mentioned a lot, even last season, just looking on paper, it looks like it should be a great game, all things considering. But again, I mean, truly, anything can happen in these matches. So I always kind of go in these with a grain of salt until the final result.
Oh, definitely. But, as we said, like, I like looking into the referee, try and get an understanding on how he referees. And Chapman, we've all heard of him. We all know how he likes to referee, so it'll be interesting to see how we go with that. Now, moving on a little bit further, obviously, there's been no more news on LAFC 2, let alone the MLS Next Pro, because it hasn't been that long. Hopefully, over the next week, we find out more, find out when they're going to be playing, find out who's going to be playing for LAFC and all that kind of stuff. So time will tell on that. I'll lost some more notes here. Hasn't been much more listener reaction from you guys, because obviously most of you guys are driving home. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in with us for this episode. Yes, it's another short episode for us. Next episode, we'll hopefully try and get one out after the Revs game before our next CCL game. Hopefully we'll have all the boys back for that one to join us. Other than that, I want to thank you guys, especially Joseph and Tony, for letting me take over for these last couple of episodes. Thanks again to Araceli for joining us for this. Araceli, final thoughts from you?
My final thoughts are simple. I already mentioned it to everyone who traveled to Costa Rica. I am wishing safe travels for all of you back to LA. And for the upcoming match, it's pretty much the same message as always. Take care of each other. Make sure you have a plan, whether that's including calling an Uber, taking the metro, or even just simply calling a friend. So please definitely, keep watch with each other. And as always, it's always great to come on here and talk LAFC with you.
It's always great to talk LAFC, not only just LAFC, but just football in general with you, Araceli. For everyone that's been in here, thank you again for tuning in today. Hopefully try and get this episode up on our podcast soon. We're having a little bit of trouble with the last one, trying to get that up. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I'm doing something wrong, but I'll try and work it all out. If not, the last episode and this episode will be up probably together over the next couple of days if we can't get up soon. But again, just want to say again, remember, it's okay not to be okay. Call your friends, call your family, even a work colleague that you don't see much. If they see him off, just go speak to them. Ask them, are you okay? The conversation can save a life. That's definitely 100% for sure. You know, someone could be thinking, no one wants to talk to me. What's the point of it? You just go up and saying, hey, what's up? Try and get to know them more. Take them to an LAFC game. Show them what we're all about. Show all that love and that care. And, you know, it could change them, not only just from being a non-supporter to a supporter, but making sure that there's something there for them. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. It has been an absolute blast for this episode, especially straight after a win like that. So for everyone, thank you very much. Araceli.
Stay golden.
And from me to all of you guys, stay golden, LA.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.